Hey guys, this is Holistic Health Harry. Today I'm joined by, if you follow my YouTube channel, you'll definitely know these guys, Nick Schizzano and Crystal Cavalier, and their partnership, and they've been together a while, and we've had interviews with you guys on many things. We're all in the same communities, we all do the same stuff. But today I want to talk to you about something that you guys specialize in. I mean, you've got a book about it, and we're going to talk a bit about medical astrology.
Yes.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah,
so I'm
we're
super
really-
interested in this. It's an interesting topic, but I'm very new still, I think, to even basic horoscopes and natal charts with timings. So can you explain to the audience what is medical astrology?
Oh, who's gonna do it?
Okay. Well, what we do is we take your natal birth chart, and all you need is your birth date, time, and place, and wherever the planets were when you were born are signifying like where you have strengths in your body and possible weaknesses.
Yeah.
Right, I
That's
see.
good.
So when you say medical astrology, is that related to your health? Medical, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, your health and well-being.
Yep, the
Right.
physical body. The chart shows the state of your cerebral spine, all 12 biological systems, cerebral
Right.
spinal nervous system, endocrine, skeletal, and then specific body parts generally within those systems, per degree.
Very interesting. And how did you guys come to research and specialize in this topic?
Well, I learned probably 90 or 85% of it from Santos Bonacci and his videos. And then I found some extra information, during my studies through his videos, and I expanded, and then I found some really other special, very detailed information which helped complete his studies too.
Right, very interesting. Same for you, Crystal, Santos Bonacci and
Well, yeah, through Nick though. I was introduced to Santos's work through Nick, but that's where I've learned most everything. Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah, right. Okay, so so is it quite complicated to understand, to explain to people? I'd love if you could go into like give us some insight in how it works, what it means, how does it affect your lives? Does it rule your life? Or can you transmute these things?
Yeah, the thing is that's a good question about transmuting it. When you are aware, then you can do things to prevent. So it's like a preventative technique.
Yeah.
So if there's something in your chart showing that your kidneys might have an issue, you can remedy that before it even happens.
Right, got you. Does
So
that
like
does that
maybe
include, by the way,
yeah.
medicine? Do you offer, does it include the medicine with the medical, or is it just a reading?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's half
we
of
give
it.
we look at the chart, and then we give remedies, which include cell salts, crystals and stones, the metals that you want to wear on your body,
Herbs.
yeah, herbs and foods.
And then there's additional balancing techniques to
like singing, like different keys that you can sing in to balance that part of your body.
and then instead of solar gazing for getting strength from the sun, you can gaze at the planet itself,
Right.
and you can
Didn't know that.
ingest its harmonic.
Yeah. So let's say you have like a debilitated Venus, then you would stare at Venus.
You should find Venus.
When
You
you
need
can
to find
see her.
just finding Venus in the sky will connect you to the qualities of Venus. Just finding her alone and then staring at her.
I never knew that. So stargazing has deeper meanings than just like the beauty of it and all. You can get that energy for your health according to your charts.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah, because it connects you with that frequency. It connects you with that frequency in the sky.
Yeah, you focus on that scalar wave coming off of that, and it's a certain pattern that manifests things in your body. And when you're not getting that signature frequency, say Venus, your kidneys will fall out of balance.
Right. Oh wow, that's crazy. Does it affected by the moon cycles? The medical astrology.
Yes,
Yeah.
in a way, yeah, because let's say someone was born with moon conjunct sun, which would be the new moon, it'd be considered the new moon. And let's say that they were born in Libra, their sun is in Libra, their moon is in Libra, so then they have a debilitated sun, and then that moon will also be, since they're right next to each other, will be affected as well.
And the transiting moon like would be the
Right.
strongest one because
Right.
it's moving the fastest and it's like the most influential planet up there. So yeah, when the moon is on your south node, that's not a good day. When the moon is on your sun, that's a good day.
Right.
Just generally speaking, if the moon is in Pisces, everyone's going to be real dreamy and sleepy, and so yeah, the moon's definitely a big one.
Yeah.
Got you. And it's on a day-to-day basis, what you just said there, right? It changes.
The moon moves, it spends 2.5 days in each sign.
Right.
So it will be in Aries for 2.5 days, then Taurus for 2.5 days, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Oh.
And
It's in Taurus right now.
yeah. And one thing that we learned, one of the first things I learned about astrology was that when the moon is in your sun sign, so for me, that would be Taurus because I was born in Taurus. My sun sign is Taurus. For you, it would be your sun sign is Gemini, right?
So in 2.5 days for you.
So yeah,
Right.
Then you want to practice fasting.
Right. Okay.
Abstaining from, if you drink, you want to abstain from alcohol.
I'll do Zen cleanse. I've got a Zen cleanse here.
And you want to also abstain from any sexual activity. And then in those 2.5 days, when you do these things, it helps raise the chrism up the spine.
The spine.
Got you.
Yeah.
So that's a good rule for everyone to know. And this is in your book, isn't it? So when your moon is in your sun sign, that's a great time to abstain from temptations and wrong things that we all do sometimes.
Yeah, you don't want anything acidic because acidity will lower the spinal fluid down to below the solar plexus and it'll burn up your spinal fluid. So you want alkaline food. That's why you should fast and breathe a lot and keep your body alkaline so it doesn't burn your cerebral spinal fluid.
Yeah.
And yeah, when the moon is in the sun sign, right in the solar plexus, there lands, like they call it a psychophysical germ or seed. And that's what raises up and goes into the brain and the pineal during when the moon's in your sun sign.
Right. So that's really a time to go to do the spiritual work, to do the abstinence, take it a bit more seriously, meditate, reflect. That's cool.
And it happens each month. So every
right, and that's for 2.5 days, right? And that is period.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super interesting. Wow, I'm gonna do that then. Definitely. Yeah, that's great information.
Yeah, and then you can follow the moon really easily. You just find a moon tracker on an app or whatever and follow the moon. Yeah.
Cool. I love it. Is there any other tips that you can give us that are like a bit unusual that maybe people have never heard? Because I know you guys have so much great information on these things.
Let's see. Well, when the moon is in Capricorn for us, that's a horrible day, and you should know. It'd be good to be aware of where the moon is each day. So you can say, oh, well, this is just the moon doing this, and it's going to go away in like 16 hours or so.
Got you. You mean
so the moon on your
right? In relationships, a bit harder, like.
Just in general, yeah. And it could be different for each person, obviously, because we're all different. But for me specifically, it's Capricorn moon, because it's in detriment, and the moon is in detriment in Capricorn. So that's playing into it. But to be aware, then you can just like embrace that challenge.
Yeah.
And not let it ruin like your whole being, because you know that it's going to be like done in 2.5 days or however long. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. For instance, for me, when the moon is in Leo, it's on my Chiron. And that's not a good 2 days for me. And when it's in Cancer, it's on my South Node. So those 6 days when it goes through Cancer and Leo, well, 2.5 plus 2.5, 5 days. So those 5 days for me are never good. And I know they're coming and I can prepare for them and then I can just ride it out. Whereas before, when I didn't know that, I would kind of spaz out on all those days. You know, you'd think that that energy is permanent, but now when you're conscious and aware, it's a great help.
Right. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? When you feel like you're going through tough times. I mean, everything's like you live in the moment feels like forever, doesn't it? Happiness, sadness, but it doesn't last forever. So that's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually has to do with the moon.
Yeah.
Right. Very interesting.
It's the fastest moving planet, and it like is associated with our emotion and subconscious.
Very much so. Yes, I'm an Aries moon, so when my Aries moon is in Sun, I've got to do stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just looking at that. Maybe we should look at his chart. Maybe that.
Yeah.
By all means, let's cover what's going on. I'm curious.
One thing I did want to share real quick though about something before we look at your chart. There's what you call the missing cornerstone, and that's the month or the sign you were born in. So for you it would be Gemini, and then it would be Cancer, Leo, and depending upon what degree your sun is at, let's say it's at the 1st degree, it would just be those 3 signs. And then each sign is associated with the mineral cell salt.
Right.
So that missing cornerstone would be the 3 mineral cell salts associated with Gemini, Cancer, and Leo. If your sun was at 1 degree, it's 90 degrees after your sun.
I think his sun's 28, so it'd go from 28 Gemini to 28
Virgo.
Virgo. That'd be 3 signs. And you didn't get those minerals because you weren't in the womb,
right?
In gestation. So when you were in the womb, the sun was signaling a frequency to your mother's body to produce that mineral. Say you were in the womb and the sun was in Leo.
Right.
Well, the sun was sending a frequency to tell your mother's body to produce lots of magnesium phosphate for her and you. Yeah, and that's amazing. And then those 3 signs is where like all of the disease comes from, and illness, and where people end up dying because those mineral deficiencies become so severe that body can't live.
It's simple as that. You said there's 12 and there's 9 months that a baby takes to be made, isn't it? So the 3 that are missing are the ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's generally 3 to 4 for the missing cornerstone. And then there's other factors that you can look at too, planetary placements. But
this is all from George Carey's literature. George regularly spelled, and then Carey, Carey. And he's got about 10 or so books on Amazon. I'd recommend those.
Right. Yeah. I think I've got one of his, the biggest classic one. I forgot the name of it, but I've got one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Salts of Salvation, probably.
Probably. Yeah, it had the zodiac sign in it with the salts in it, a picture diagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's called that's the something the Salts of Salvation. Or maybe it's just the Salts of Salvation. Yeah, it's a good one. He's got a lot of other good ones too. It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll share our screen.
Oh sure. Yeah. I need to maybe allow that, I think. I don't know. Let me see. Here we go. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so here's your chart, Harry. So, yeah, as you can see, your sun's at 28 degrees, Gemini. So going back to the missing cornerstone, this is a little visual for those who find it easier to learn visually. So it would be Cancer to 28 degrees.
That's 1 month.
Yep.
30 days.
30 degrees, 30 days. Leo to 28 degrees. So that's 60 days, 60 degrees. And then another 30 days, 60 degrees equals the 90 degrees to Virgo, 28 degrees. So you would want to take the mineral cell salts, which Nick will go through for Gemini.
Potassium chloride. It builds all the fibrin in your body, all the fibers.
Cool. Yeah.
And then for Cancer.
And that's for all the connective tissue and elasticity. Your organs will sag if you're deficient this mineral salt.
Calcium.
And the cerebellum will sag off the cerebrum. and it creates a fear of financial ruin.
Oh, whoa. You're getting too personal, guys, and that's actually true.
Um, yeah, so calcium fluoride.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
wear the crystal fluorite because it's made out of calcium fluoride.
Oh, did you say potassium fluoride? That is part of the fluoride. Yeah, because fluoride's obviously bad, but there's fluoride that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the calcium fluoride is the one that your body can work with.
Right, cool.
Yep, and then the crystal fluorite is the crystal that you would want to wear on your body.
Oh, thanks for saying that. Okay, I'll look into buying that, definitely.
And the metal silver.
Oh, interesting. I like silver. Yeah, I really like silver. I've got a silver wand. Yeah, I like silver. I'll buy some more of that then too.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then also Leo, which is magnesium phosphate.
Does that mean
Um,
Gemini lack magnesium when you say that those two words?
Magnesium phosphate, because there's
Magnesium
lots of different forms of
10
magnesium.
or so.
Yeah. So it's the magnesium phosphate.
Yeah, and it's important it's the homeopathic too, because the homeopathic is nano. And it absorbs into the red blood cell, I think is what they say. The magnesium phosphate is for the muscles, it's in the bones, and it's for the white nerve fibers.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yep.
And then last but not least, out of the missing cornerstone would be Virgo.
Potassium sulfate.
Right.
And that builds all the oil in your body.
And a lack of oils in my body is causing me what problems?
Let's see. Lack of oil. Something to do with the skin. And well, cerebrospinal oil. Oh, and that's on the tip of my brain. What exactly that is, I know it, but I can't remember exactly. But also, it's this one's for the liver, and you'll get liver spots if you're deficient in it.
Oh, very interesting. Quickly, because sorry, my liver's fucked because I'm still short-sighted. Eyes, liver, vaccine. So my liver, I know, is fucked.
And then that one's for the digestion system.
Yeah,
right?
it's for the digestive system too.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all three sulfurs are for the liver. Virgo, potassium sulfate, and Taurus is sodium sulfate, and Scorpio is calcium sulfate. All the sulfurs are for the liver.
Interesting.
And you'll get liver spots when you have a deficiency of one or three or two of them. You get liver spots.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have the sulfate deficiencies, and I had like a couple brown spots here, and since doing the liver cleanse, the one went away and one really lightened up.
Oh, nice. Do you mean the Zen cleanse liver
So
cleanse or
the liver cleanse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
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 So it's really important to keep that liver clean.
Absolutely. Mine's really needs a lot of work. I'm doing a lot, but I do need to focus on it more. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the three
3 to 4.
main ones. And the systems for each one too is Gemini is the respiratory system. So yours, and I always find people who teach breathing exercises Geminis, because they and their consciousness, they're a representation of their system, the respiratory system. So of course they're going to teach breathing exercises.
And they're the writer too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And Cancer is the lymphatic system. And Leo is the circulatory system. Should I just go through all of them?
Sure.
And Virgo is the intestinal system. So, and that comes through in the Virgo's personality.
Right.
They're very particular, and they kind of repeat things. Virgo's like the sign that routines, and it's ruled by Mercury, as you can see the M here. And Mercury often, it's the fastest moving planet other than the moon, and it goes back and forth. It retrogrades the most.
Hmm.
And then if you look at the intestines, they go back and forth.
Hmm.
So, and Libra is the kidneys
Hmm.
and the renal system. And there's two of them, and it has to do with balance. And they're like the relationship sign.
Hmm. Hmm.
And urine comes out of the kidneys.
Hmm.
And Libra is like considered a benefic sign because it's ruled by Venus.
Hmm.
Scorpio is the regenerative system, and that definitely comes through on the Scorpio people's personality.
Right, yes, Scorpios, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. That's a funny one.
Yeah.
And Sag is the muscular system. You'll notice all of your bodybuilders,
Mhm.
Sagittarius,
Right.
because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Jupiter is all about expanding things.
And it expands the muscles.
Right.
It's the muscular
Yeah,
system.
Sagittarius are always very muscular.
Hmm.
Capricorn's the skeletal system. These people are very strict and structural and stern, like the skeletons, and they love bones and skeletons. You go to in somebody's house, they got bones everywhere, skeletons, you know, collected bones. The Capricorns, it's like you find this all the
And it
time.
might not always just be the sun. So if you're sitting out there, anybody listening, and you don't have a Capricorn sun, but you have this like
You agree
interest,
with it?
yeah, you agree with any of these signs. You might have a Capricorn moon, you might have
Capricorn ascendant?
yeah, or
Rising,
like
yeah.
Or you might have Sun conjunct the ruler of Capricorn, Saturn.
yeah. So it's not so simple as just the sun sign.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Aquarius is the meridian system. That's why these people are so electrical
Hmm.
and sort of they're the geniuses, and they're the acupuncturists too,
Hmm.
Aquarius, and they always work with the meridian system. And sodium chloride is the salt for that.
Mhm.
And when you're deficient sodium chloride, your meridian system goes a little haywire because
Hmm.
salt is like a conductor,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it just conducts sporadically because it doesn't have the fluid
Yeah.
conductivity.
And you can't just eat salt, like table salt, because it has to be the homeopathic. So it's like the nano size, so it can actually absorb.
Got you. Yeah, because I mean, normal salt is just gets stuck in the body, doesn't it? And it causes damage and dehydrates you. So it's no good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's too large, it doesn't even absorb. And these
Yeah.
people will crave salt their whole life. They'll eat salt, but they'll
Yeah.
never get the salt, which is so sad.
Mhm.
So you
Yeah.
need the homeopathic salt.
Got you. Yeah.
And Pisces is the integumentary system, the skin. These people always have tattoos on their skin
Yeah.
because it's ruled by Neptune, which is like an artsy planet, and
Right.
it's also a poisonous planet. Poseidon is Neptune, so they're poisoning their skin with art, and that's exactly it's just amazing how we find these connections.
Yeah.
And the mineral for that is iron phosphate.
Mhm.
And when you're low on iron phosphate, all the blood rushes from your skin into your organs to protect your organs.
Right. Yeah.
And you can get issues with your skin.
Sure. Yeah. Anemic, innit? Anemia, not enough blood from the iron, and it just protects itself. Like, yeah.
Yeah, Pisces are anemic.
Hmm.
Generally
And it
speaking.
has to do with oxygen.
Right.
Yeah, generally. It has to do with oxygen. And funny, it's the fish, which doesn't get any oxygen. So they're like a fish. They never get any oxygen because
Ain't that crazy? Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
deficient in iron.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And also maybe the
And
girls
then,
that suffer from bulimia, anemia, maybe are susceptible to that stuff too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that's interesting too, because like bulimia I think would be associated with Virgo, like the intestinal system, which is opposite Pisces. Just a
Ooh.
connection I
And
made right now.
yeah. And I didn't want to overwhelm, but what helps iron absorb is the two mercurial signs, which have to do with respiration. Gemini, and Virgo. So you have to take the Virgo salt and the Gemini salt, the two Mercury signs, which is breathing, to help iron absorb, which helps you uptake oxygen.
Very interesting. Cool. Yeah.
So they all work together in some way or another. But what we like to recommend is taking extra of the missing cornerstone and then other ones that you might be deficient in.
Cool.
Yep.
Of the minerals also.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Aries, which this is really cool, by the way, Moon conjunct Jupiter in Aries with North Node, which is one of the greater benefic placements. Its energy is a combination of Jupiter and Venus. So that's real good in the brain. So Aries is the cerebral spinal nervous system. It's the cerebrum, the big brain. And these people are very head first. They walk with their head first, and they're brainiacs. And the mineral for it is potassium phosphate, and that builds the gray matter in the brain. And it is the basis of the nervous system fluid. So without that salt, your whole life falls apart.
Got you. I guess for guys,
because
retaining semen a bit as well, because that helps the cerebrospinal fluid. It's lost too much by general guys, isn't it? So that really affects the cerebrospinal fluid. Right.
That's why Santos is so such a large proponent of semen retention, because his sign is the cerebral spinal system.
Yeah, because the cerebrospinal semen retention is composed mainly of that cerebrospinal fluid. It's like 90% of it that goes from the back of the body to the thing, isn't it? So
yeah. Did
you have epiphany there, Nick?
And it's also really interesting too, because this mineral, it is a good one. I love it. Another one I put together the other day is you turn, so the mineral for this sign is gray. And when you're deficient that mineral, you turn gray. So
really?
For Aries.
Yeah, for Aries.
Yeah.
So each sign, each sign turns a different color. Tauruses turn yellow.
Because of the liver.
Because they're jaundiced, because Taurus cell salt, sodium sulfate, is for the liver.
Right.
And Gemini, they turn red. They get little spider veins, because Mercury rules their sign. Mercury is spiders. They weave the webs with their crazy fast fingers. They get little red spider veins, and they turn red because this is for red blood cells, oxygen. It works with Pisces. And Cancers, they turn purple. And the mineral, calcium fluoride, and fluorspar and fluorite are all purple. And they all turn their color.
How weird. It's all connected. Is this sort of how they discovered it in the first place, these connections? Like
maybe, huh?
Maybe.
Yeah, because you can do like facial analysis too. And so that's what Nick mainly does, because he knows all the facial symptoms, I guess.
Cancer get crow's feet because they're deficient in calcium fluoride.
Right. Yeah.
The crow's feet and a little purple under the eye. And then under the skin, if you look just right, there's a whole layer of purple.
Wow.
And Leo turns red on the ears and the sides of the nose, and if they drink alcohol, they turn real red. And then Virgo, they get the liver spots. Libra, they get vertical lines on their upper lip and a red chin. Yeah, so it just keeps going. And then Scorpio, they turn pale white, and they get a line under their eye, horizontal, and that line, the depth of it, and if it carries down the face, determines their level of metal toxicity in their blood, because this mineral, calcium sulfate, detoxifies the blood of metal.
Wow.
And you get this line. Yeah. And the mineral is calcium sulfate, which is gypsum and selenite. And when they're deficient calcium sulfate, a Scorpio, they turn pale ghost gypsum white.
Huh. Whoa.
Which is weird that they would turn the color that they're deficient of.
Interesting,
Something to
yeah.
do with their bodies not reflecting that light spectrum away.
Right, yeah, because it's not the color you see, it's the reflection of it. That's everything gets absorbed except that color, right? Which reflects back that you see. True.
Yeah.
Very smart there, yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be what's going on.
That is. I think you've nailed it, actually. Yeah.
And yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah. And do you have something?
Oh, I just wanted to show you too, like Nick's going through all these different facial symptoms. What I'm going to share now is the Medical Astrology Guide that Nick and I wrote together.
Yes.
And just to show you that, so we're on Gemini right now. And Nick was just talking about the different symptoms of the potassium chloride cell salt deficiency. And there's facial indicators here. So there's a whole list, and you can, you know, use this guide to do your own facial analysis as well as the medical astrology part.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can see which degree you have the deficiency to.
Yeah.
Right.
So for you, your sun was at 28 degrees.
Yeah.
Right. So you go to Gemini 28. So, and these might not manifest, you know, when you're younger. It might, you know, they might come when you're like 80 years old. So just to be aware, or even like 50, you know, whenever it comes,
550
but to be aware that it is a possibility, then you can.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Then you can do things to remedy. So if your sun lands on the metacarpal bones, tuberculosis.
And again, these are things that I'm
affect your speech.
more likely to experience due to my Gemini 28 to where my sun is and my astrology. Interesting.
Exactly.
And what is metacarpal bone? Sorry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What is a metacarpal bone?
Yeah,
I think it's in your
finger.
Yeah, your fingers, because Gemini is the hands.
Okay.
What we were saying is the metacarpals here is like basically the palm of your hand.
Oh,
so you could have issues there.
Right, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it depends whether it depends on the angles to your 28-degree sun. Are they harsh, intense, opposing, cold, and dry? Or are they blue and warm and nourishing and harmonic? So if there's a bunch of red ones like this, you'll probably break that bone throughout your life. When there's a certain planet at a certain angle, like Saturn opposite or square, or Mars opposite or square.
So like maybe on a Saturn return, because your Saturn is, oh no, your Saturn is not opposite the sun, thankfully. Because if it were, and then maybe on your Saturn return, you could perhaps break it.
Yep, but it looks like you've got a real good trine, which adds strength and, you know, good things to that grouping of muscle bones. And you have 2 sextiles, which have to do with Venetian energy coming from Jupiter and the moon.
Which strengthens, Jupiter will strengthen it.
So, and there's 2 oppositions. So a couple good and a couple bad, like always. When it's all bad, there's always a problem. When it's all good, it's usually all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So to continue, perhaps digestive troubles as well. It's a feminine degree, so each degree is either masculine or feminine. It's an empty degree, and then it's vagrant. So like the possibilities, the vagrant is like movable.
Means it changes and wanders. It's only in the mutable signs. All the mutable signs and the cadent houses, which are the mutable signs, they end each season. So Gemini ends spring, Virgo ends summer, Sagittarius ends fall, and Pisces ends winter.
Cool. So going back to your chart. So yeah, your sun is not really, it's not being affected that greatly, really, because it's just got the two oppositions from Uranus and Neptune.
Also, it's at 28 degrees 59 seconds, and one more, or 28 degrees 59 minutes.
Yeah.
In one more minute, it'll be at 29 degrees. So you may want to consider looking at Gemini at 29 degrees, which is the fourth rib, speech, depression, and giant pectoris.
Gastric ulcer.
Interesting common themes, depression, I guess, for both of them. I've definitely been depressed, so.
Yeah, I've seen that right away, and I remember you saying that. Yeah, and then it's usually a theme in the chart. Because Capricorn ascendant has to do with depression too, because when you have Capricorn placements, you become deficient in calcium phosphate. And when you're deficient in calcium phosphate, you develop vitamin D deficiency, rickets.
Ooh, which is depression. Vitamin D is happy hormone, isn't it? Yeah.
So Capricorns, they all have vitamin D deficiency in there, generally speaking, from what we found, and they can be very depressed, and I would assume it's because of that.
Yeah. Thank God I'm getting out to tropical countries right now very soon, like you guys. So that's good.
Yeah,
same for me. I have a stellium in Capricorn, and every winter in Minnesota, I would notice that coming on. So it's one big reason why I'm in Mexico.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Let's get this Saturn too, because that can bring, it's a malefic. And since it just has this opposition going to Venus, going to Venus, that might
17.
That might have more of an effect than your sun. So Sag 17 degrees. So, and then we can go through like the remedies too on the Sagittarius.
Yep.
Okay. Sag 17? Is that what it was?
Sciatic nerve, eyes.
Yeah. So yeah, your sciatic nerve, eyes,
AIDS.
perhaps age. You would be more apt to get that if you put yourself in that situation.
Which is mucus in the blood.
Right.
And is you can get rid of it too.
I did a chart on Freddie Mercury.
All right.
And he's got 2 placements on degree right there.
Right, yeah. Oh, the blood,
Exactly.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can go down here. Here's symptoms. If you're, lacking this mineral salt of silica, you may be shy, have a lack of grit, hypersensitivity, sensitivity to cold, and difficulty of thought.
Right, yeah.
And then here's a whole list of physical issues. So the ones on the degree are like the specific body parts, the eyes that we spoke of a moment ago. And here's a whole list of the physical symptoms. So hip issues, light sensitivity, fragile skin, scarring, hernia, sweaty hands and feet, cataracts, possible learning disabilities in children, toxicity, bone spurs, weak connective tissues, and it just goes on and on. And then there's facial indicators, which we spoke of a little bit ago on Gemini. Then you can also look at your tongue.
Right, yeah.
So if you have one side swelling of the tongue, then you would want to take silica. If your tongue is brown, hardened with ulcers, silica would help. Oh, this one's interesting too. Sensation of hair on tongue. Nick has a funny story
Yeah.
about that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that was in Aries.
Yeah,
though.
she went to the reading and she says, "This feels like there's a hair on my tongue all the time." And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, yeah, right. How am I gonna find that in the chart?
Yeah, this was before we had studied this list of
But I was
degrees.
like, I'll do it. And then I looked up her chart and she's Aries. And I like go to her sun's at 12 degrees Aries. So I go to 12 degrees just to scan everything.
Hmm.
And then I get to 12 degrees where her sun is. And it says tongue. And she's complaining about her tongue and there's a hair on it. And
Yeah.
this is from an old book in parentheses. It says hair on
Whoa.
the tongue. So I
Yeah.
bet she had silica too.
Right. Yeah.
Huh, crazy. Huh, that's crazy.
So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to Sagittarius. Oops, too far.
So that's why Harry loves that root too, because it has silica in it.
Oh, true. Bioavailable silica. Yeah, that could be it. And it does my skin glow.
Yeah.
It really does. Makes my skin look good. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, because that's so funny. Silica strengthens and gives a glossy shine to the hair, skin, and nails.
It does.
Yeah, it does. And the hair too. Yes, it does. It really does. Makes you look much younger when I've got it. When I do that. Yeah.
It also forms a protective sheath on the nerve. It covers and protects bones. It helps the pus and toxins discharge.
Mhm.
It's a detoxifier of heavy metals. Wrinkles can be reversed by taking silica, and it protects your body from absorbing mercury and other metals.
Interesting.
Yep.
Oh.
Silica is quartz crystal. Silica forms quartz crystal, and when you zoom in on silica, it's like real pointy and sharp.
Yeah.
And jagged,
Mhm.
just like a quartz crystal, and it has to do with vision
Mm.
and like pineal gland.
Interesting. Yeah.
And when you press on a quartz crystal, it makes a spark. That's those clicky lighters.
Yep. Yep.
Not the flint roller ones. Yeah, that's smashing a quartz crystal to make a spark.
Right. Cool.
And there's because Sagittarius is for silica, and Sagittarius has to do with visions, visionaries, the pineal gland.
Right. Yep.
So there's silica in the pineal gland, and when you raise your spinal pressure on it, it makes visions and colors like that spark. It makes a bunch of little sparks.
Hmm.
So silica mineral is really cool.
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it? Silica. Really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And interesting too that all crystals and stones have a little bit, if not a lot of it, of silica. Every single crystal and stone has silica in it.
Interesting.
So I've been
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, yeah, it does.
Because it's Jupiter. Silica is Jupiter, and Jupiter is like a lot, expanding and big.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exaggerations.
Yeah.
And silica makes glass too. And what do you make glasses out of? Glass, and it's like the only thing that you can see through.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and I see is the motto for Sagittarius, silica. I see. And
Whoa. Yeah. Crazy.
glasses and glass
Crazy.
windows to see through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good dot connecting. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's fun, huh?
And then there's different foods that have silica in them.
Mm.
We omitted all the different animal products,
Mhm.
and we kept the list pretty alkaline.
Mm.
Not all alkaline, actually.
Mm.
So the different grains and flour of wild rice have silica: amaranth, fonio, kamut, quinoa, rye, spelt. Oh, that's supposed to be teff.
Teff.
I don't know why it's Ted.
Ted.
Teff. Cucumbers, gooseberries, strawberries, lettuce, all except iceberg.
Right.
Celery, oranges. The most alkaline ones are the Seville or the sour oranges.
Mhm.
Apples, stinging nettle, horsetail, California poppy, and dandelion.
Nice.
So those
Cool.
are the different foods that you can eat.
Mhm.
And then we find that people that are deficient in, let's say, silica, they'll crave apples or wild rice. They'll just naturally, their body is telling them that that's the mineral they need. And so that's what they want to eat all the time.
Yep.
Mm.
Like Tauruses crave celery because it has sodium sulfate for the liver.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
And then different crystals, stones, and metals for Sagittarius or a debilitated or challenged planet in Sagittarius. Our aventurine, quartz crystal, which actually has the silica in it, which we were just talking about. Lapis lazuli, and then the metal is tin.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the Tibetan silver for in the singing?
Oh yeah, Tibetan silver is another one too.
Hmm.
That's what the guy who makes the singing bowls that we have.
He makes one for each planet. The silvers for the moon, coppers for Venus.
Tin is Jupiter. Yeah.
Chunk of tin in the pocket.
Other additional balancing techniques is you can do lower and back, glute and thigh massages.
And yoga for the hips.
Right, hip yoga, okay.
Hip stretches.
Mhm.
You can spend time with the Sagittarius.
To get their channel of the sign Sagittarius.
Right, so date is Sagittarius.
Never stop learning.
Never stop learning, yep, got that.
December.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, because Sagittarians are always just absorbing, wanting to learn and teach.
Right.
Yep. You can do different religious or spiritual studies and practices. You can practice generosity, because Jupiter is very giving. And teach, and you can drink from an Ayurvedic tin cup. You know, there's a lot of copper cups out there, and that would be like for Taurus or Libra, Venus. But for Sagittarius, Jupiter, it would be tin. You can chant to Jupiter, which would be Om Guruve Namahe. And you can do that in the key of either D major or the harmonic minor, which is B minor. So those are different other things that you can do.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, the book we have has all the 12 signs.
Yes. Yeah.
Aries through Pisces. Just want to show you here. We also have different recommended health protocols and products. Of course, we have Zen Cleanse. Oh, here is the mineral salt salts that we found to be the best ones that you can get. There are others that we really like, but they're really hard to get.
Right, yeah.
But the best made are the ones that you can easily access.
Yes, got you.
And yep. We have different recommended websites.
Yep.
If you guys want to get different recipes for alkaline foods, Thai's Conscious Kitchen has a lot. I'm sure there's other ones out there too. That's just the one we go to.
Yeah, you don't want to burn the cerebrospinal fluid with acidic food. You want alkaline food to helps raise the spinal fluid up, the pressure.
Agree.
And
yeah,
it reaches a gland in the brain, which administers all 12 cell salts organically.
Hi.
So that's
the Amrita?
huge reason for the
Amrita?
alkalinity.
Is it Amrita thing? Yeah.
Like the mushroom? Or what?
Oh, Amrita,
Amanita?
no, it's not a mushroom.
No.
Oh, the Amanita's that mushroom, isn't it?
Yeah.
The golden nectar.
Yeah.
Sorry, I might be muddling things up.
Amrita.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what they call it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just-
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Okay.
can make your own cell salt.
It's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah,
so-
and then another thing
yeah.
too.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we can, I think we went through everything that we needed to, but just to promote the urine therapy too, because that has all 12 mineral cell salts in it. So you're taking these mineral cell salts, eating these foods with the mineral cell salts in it. Why not recycle them? Right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Very true. Okay, so so the reason why we're doing this, you guys have incredible knowledge on medical astrology. You shared some of my stuff here. So basically, all of this is individual to the person depending on star signs. And then you've written a book, both of you, that we're gonna put this on YouTube, and in the description we're gonna put a link to buy your book, because the book's basically condensed wisdom of all that you shared, and it goes much more detail. So well done, guys, for writing the book. First of all, I think your knowledge is incredible. I'm definitely gonna buy it. Definitely recommend people. That's why we've done this video, to give a bit of insight, to make you a bit more real. And yeah, we're gonna hopefully people be interested and try it out and see if it resonates with you, because it's all true to me. And I'm gonna look into getting salts myself, and I'll get your book first and I'll get the salts, so then maybe I'll expand. I'll focus on the salts for the beginning for me.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to, find us on social media, you can find me at Crystal Cavalier, and
I am on Facebook, Nicholas Schizzano.
yeah, and then also crystalclearcompass.com is our website. If you're interested in booking a reading and seeing what else we have to offer.
Sure, I'll put those your Facebooks, your internet site, anything on the description below with your book, which is awesome. So thanks guys for joining. I really appreciate it,
thank you
as always. And I look forward to more interviews, of course. We got more to talk about. We'll always do a series with you guys. We love you. So thanks.
Yeah, love you too.
Thank you.